G'day viewers, today we're going to be talking about Chinese rod numerals. We're going to have a guest appearance by ancient Chinese counting rods too. For a bit of background history on Chinese rod numerals, they have about 2,000 years of history, give or take. First documented to be used in around 400 BC to 200 BC. It's safe to say they've been around for a long time. And, alright, it's quite similar to our number system. It's base 10, and as I'm about to show you, the symbols for our numbers are quite similar in a way. However, there are a few key caveats. The first being colours. So the Chinese rod numeral system used two colours. Red was positive, so any number for addition, multiplication, just a regular number would be red. And black meant negative, so you'd use it for minus or division. But I'm gonna have to give you two disclaimers really quick. I only have black ink, so you're gonna have to imagine everything you see here today is red. And the other disclaimer is counting rods weren't actually popsicle sticks. Yeah, they were usually bamboo, and if you had a bit of money to spend, they could have been ivory, jade, iron. But yeah, we've got popsicle sticks today. So I think we just jump into the numbers. So we have a look here. Okay, 1 is 1 strike. 5 is 5 strikes down. Okay, I can remember five lines down. If we have a look over here at the 6 and the 9, they kind of remind you of the tally mark system, where I feel like the best way to remember it is the horizontal line is just a 5, and let's say we'll take the 8 here, right? 5 plus 3, 8. Okay, not too hard to remember once you have a little bit of exposure to it. And all right, I think it's time to jump over to the tens column and just quickly remember the zong. That's going to come into play later on. So we grab this one out here, and these are your tens. Now, if you notice, have a quick look. They look sort of similar, and you're right, they were. Hang means horizontal, and zong means vertical. So all your ones were just vertical, and all your hangs, so your 10, 20, 30, 40, they were just horizontal lines. So you'd quite literally just pretty much flip them over, and you'd have the same symbols, which is quite handy for especially younger students to learn. So you might be thinking, okay, what's the symbol for 100 or 1,000? And I'll give you a quick hint. The symbol for 100 would be this. And this is the key part that might trick up a few people when they're learning Chinese rod numbers, is the fact that it alternates between horizontal and vertical. So how I like to remember it, as we'll give you a quick demonstration of how to put some Chinese rod numerals into use, is zong, hang, zong, hang, zong, hang. So we're going to use a random number, 518. Is that Brent Harvey's career total goals? Yes. So we want to put this into Chinese rod numerals. So, okay, we'll take the 8, zong, downwards. So, okay, we know it's going to be bigger than 5, the 8. So 5 plus 3, okay. So we've got 3 there, 3 little strikes down there. Zong, hang, that's 1 line there. And the 5, oh, okay, yep. Zong, hang, zong, 5 lines down. Now, one tricky bit, which we're going to flip over to now, is what if there are zeros? Because you might have been noticed there are no zeros here. That's because there was no symbol for it. So we're going to cut over, and we're going to open up our counting rods. Alright, now it's time to get out our counting rods, and we'll just start off with a really simple addition problem, just to give you an idea of how they were used. They'll have 3 and 10. And what they do is they'd quite literally drag it over. And 10 plus 3, 13. And simple as that. Although problems arise with the system, the bigger and more complex the equations got. Simply because of the fact was a lot of memory to remember that there was no zeros. For instance, what could be seen as 24 is actually 2,400. Just remember this. No symbol for zeros. Let's say I have 2,400 and let's say someone wants to sell me, let's say 201 shells, let's say for that. And we'd bring up this one and that one. And we get rid of these ones. And then we pull this one up here. And obviously we'd have 2,601. Quite an interesting one. Obviously very simple to make mistakes. Now that would be 2,201. I'll just cut the video. Now, although certain parts of Chinese rod numerals were phased out as time progressed, it is still taught today. There's actually 3 number systems that are taught in modern Chinese mathematics. You have the Arabic system, which is the one we use, and the one they use is quite predominant. You have the Chinese rod numeral system, which we've just discussed, and they teach it for cultural and historic things and just general math sense. And there's a third one, which is formal, but that's enough filibustering from me. I hope you've enjoyed this 101 about Chinese rod numerals.